Welcome to Treasure Hunter, a series where I'm going to delve into various games and hunt achievements, items, and other sought-after gems. Whether they're huge, small, numerous, or one valuable item, I'll be hunting for them. If you like the sound of that and you enjoy this video, consider giving me a like and a subscribe to see the future content. Today we're going to look at Diablo 4's Midwinter Blight event. Diablo 4's Midwinter Blight event is currently going on and lasts until January 2nd. So if you're interested in collecting the treasures from this event, hurry into Diablo 4 to claim your bounty now, because it won't last long. A couple things about this event: you can only do this on a seasonal server. I couldn't confirm this one myself, but I believe you may have to finish the main campaign first to participate in this event. So other than making a seasonal character, there may be some heavy gameplaying to get through the story first to participate in the event. But if you have all that done and are ready to go, this is how the event works. First, you're going to find Gillian in Kiovershad. In a newly added portion of the city for this event, he'll tell you of monsters in a red-hooded horror plaguing the fractured peaks and causing a lot of trouble for everyone.
It's always dangerous, but now in these deep winter months, monsters of an entirely different sort stalk us. During this time, this Midwinter Blight, we aim to inspire hope that endures in the darkness. I'm no fighter, but a hero of song such as you. If you hunt these monsters and bring back proof, we can display it in this square, both as a ward and a promise of fortitude.
After he gives you an introduction to the event, he'll give you a brief description of how you can use what the monsters drop as currency to exchange for useful goodie bags and cosmetic items. These come in the form of 3 items: Blighted Fragments, Lost Heirlooms, and Red Cloak Trophies. Blighted Fragments are the most common items and will drop from most any of the Midwinter Blight monsters that spawn during the event. Common and uncommon enemies that you fight that drop these will usually have the word Blight in their name to show that they are the enemies from this event. Lost Heirlooms are a little rarer than Blighted Fragments, but will also drop from most of these enemies, just at a lesser rate. You can also get these fragments from frigid huts that are spawned around the zone, and events around the fractured peaks, which is probably the best way to farm them in my opinion. And you can also get them from a nightmare cache that drop in nightmare dungeons, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Which now brings us to the Red Cloak Trophy, which only drops on the Red Cloak Horror himself. This goat man, that if you haven't guessed is a ripoff of the beloved Old Saint Nick himself, will only spawn in the Blighted Revelry event. By the way, these all drop from the fractured peaks inside the purple area indicated here in the map. The Blighted Revelry event is recognized by 5 frigid huts around a wagon, with 5 adorable little blighted scamps chanting around the wagon. To start the event, kill the scamps, click on the wagon to light it on fire, which will spew out in a circle to unfreeze the frigid huts so you can destroy them. New blighted scamps will spawn and try to put out the fire, so be careful not to ignore them while destroying the frigid huts, because if you do, you're going to have to light the wagon on fire again so that way you can continue destroying the frigid huts. If you're fast enough, you'll be left with what's left over of the blighted minions, and the Red Cloak Horror descends from what I can only guess is a sleigh that he was riding around in the sky with. He's not super hard if you have decent gear. The main things to look out for are the ice blocks that he drops and his cold nova that he shoots out periodically. Other than that, dodge his attacks, DPS him down, and the Red Cloak Trophy and a bunch of treasures including fragments, heirlooms, and gear and gold are yours. After you collect these treasures, you can turn them in near Gillian for Midwinter Proofs, then use those Midwinter Proofs to buy back and weapon cosmetics, bags filled with gold, gear, and other supplies, and an aspect that you can imprint to your weapons that works during the event. Here's a couple tips I want to give you guys before finishing the video. Don't do what I did, and farm all the fragments first before I started converting them into Midwinter Proofs. Turning in the resources for the proofs will empower the square that you and Gillian are in for a useful buff that you can get by clicking the totem in the middle when it becomes available to do so. The buff works with the imprinted aspect and makes you stronger against the blighted minions and the Red Cloak Horror. So turn them in as you go to empower the square, rather than farming all the available event resources and turning them in at one time. Another thing that empowering the square gives you is the ability to have midwinter caches drop from the nightmare dungeons that I had mentioned before, which drop a ton of blighted fragments. This is useful in case you want to go back to farming nightmare dungeons rather than farming in the fractured peaks for a long time, but still want to get the event resources to trade in for Midwinter Proofs. With all that said, how I managed this event started out with basic farming around the fractured peaks, killing monsters in frigid huts to get these items to drop, while every now and then running into the Blighted Revelry event to kill the Red Cloaked Horror. After doing this for a long time, I realized that you can farm these resources from events that spawn around the zone much faster than just killing the enemies, specifically in these 4 spots that I've marked on the map. This became a nice way to farm and sped up the process in 2 ways. 1, The events and the monsters I killed in between getting to those spots dropped a lot more of the necessary loot while staying in one progressive pattern. And 2, the Blighted Revelry event had a chance to spawn in every one of these points, which drop a decent amount of fragments, heirlooms, and of course a Red Cloak trophy, which gives you the best value of exchange. In case I didn't mention it before, the exchange value for these items works like this. 300 Blighted Fragments will get you 1 Midwinter Proof, 30 Lost Heirlooms will get you 1 Midwinter Proof, and 1 Red Cloak trophy can be exchanged for 1 Midwinter Proof, which makes the Red Cloak trophy the best exchange rate for getting Midwinter Proofs. After farming for a decent amount of time and keeping track of the amount of resources I obtained in an Excel sheet to figure out how many I needed to buy everything, which I really did by the way, here's a snippet of that to prove that I did that, I exchanged everything and bought every available cosmetic item there is for me to enjoy all year round if I so please. Just know that you can buy these on any character, but to consume them and use them in your wardrobe for cosmetics, you need to consume them on a character whose class is available for each specific item. So if you have the Necromancer back cosmetic purchase, you have to consume it on a Necromancer. If you purchase the Barbarian cosmetic, you have to consume it on a Barbarian, and so on and so forth. That's all I have for you guys right now, and I was hoping to get this out a little later so that way you guys could see this before it ended, but there is still time if you guys want to go out and enjoy this event. So until then, I'll see you guys on the next treasure hunt, and I'll leave you with this beautiful song that Gillian has composed for everyone that participated in this event.
On the morn I wake, and up in the sky, not a sliver of light, only winter's still eye. The dawn gone missing, each promise undone, each hour we wither till the sun comes again. This night without end, wind cold as the dead, the dark teems with devils to prey on our dread. Oh, where is the dawn? Did it lose its way, off chasing the stars and left the world gray? But then came a sign in the depths of sorrow, a whisper of hope that we see the morrow, a herald of dawn, a fire in the gloam, the promise reforged, lead the sun back home.
Wow. I don't think I've ever introduced myself to someone I've sung about. Because I sing about a lot of things, I mean. Gillian, traveling bard. People tell all sorts of stories about them. None good. They say they don grotesque masks, seek only misery, and steal away all who stray outside the firelight as tributes to a beast known as the Red Cloaked Horror. Some of the more gruesome stories even speak of those monsters once being tributes themselves, returned to life from frozen husks and indebted to their new master forever. Not exactly. Well, not entirely, I guess. I don't think I've ever just explained it outside the rhyme. But, this time in the dark, guarding against the monsters, there's so much fear. So people gather. In light, in celebration, in memory of the dead. The square is decorated not only with the effigies of monsters, but the heirlooms of the lost. Their warmth and unity isn't because we aren't afraid, it's because when we're afraid, we need each other the most. I grew up in Hawazar with my mother, but it was here I was born. She told me stories of the season here. They, the Cathedral of Light, that is, they aren't thrilled with a revival of the tradition. But I'm not alone. The people want a return to those roots. The music, the dance. We can't thrive in darkness without those. who better to spread that than, well, me? This square, you can feel it, can't you? The hope in this place, burning bright even amidst the surrounding darkness. It's all because of you. I've actually composed something since we last spoke. You've been quite the muse yet again. So, keep doing your part, and I'll keep doing mine.